What's up, guys? Welcome back to New. What's up, Color Entertainment? This is Matt.
Villian.
This is Juice. And it's Squeegee Side Chick Wednesday!
Squeezy Side Chick Wednesday!
And we are back yet again for another episode of The Wheel.
Hooray!
Don't everybody sound enthusiastic about it.
It's been a long week.
It has
All
been
right.
It has indeed been a long
What movie are we discussing today?
Yes, this week was indeed my choice. This week we watched the 1971 musical classic, or classic musical.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we'll go with the former. No, with the latter. Excuse me. We watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The plot synopsis is a poor but hopeful boy seeks one of the 5 coveted golden tickets that will send him on a tour of Willy Wonka's mysterious chocolate factory. This film was directed by Mel Stewart. It was written by Roald Dahl, Robert Kaufman, and David Seltzer, starring Gene Wilder, Jack Albertson, and Peter Ostrom. A couple of other quick little facts on the movie, real quick. So music was by Leslie Bricusse and Anthony Newley. It was distributed by Paramount Pictures with a budget of $3 million and made $4 million at the box office. The film is loosely or mostly based on the Roald Dahl book Charlie and
loosely is real by Roald Dahl.
Well, I'm gonna get into that as well. The film is based on the book Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. However,
there were a lot of rewrites.
There were indeed a lot of rewrites.
I would still say it's based. It is not loosely.
Yeah,
the original author is actually still responsible for the majority of the screenwriting.
I apologize for that. So let me see. So the title change of the movie comes from in the United States there's different explanations. In the United States during the 1960s, the term Mr. Charlie had been used as a pejorative expression in the African American community for a white man in power, and press reports claimed that the change was due to pressure from black groups. During the same period, U.S. soldiers in the Vietnam War used the derisive term Charlie for the Viet Cong, originating from the acronym VC, using the call sign Victor Charlie. The studio publicly stated the title was changed to put emphasis on the eccentric central character of Willy Wonka. However, Wolper said he changed the title to make the product placement for the Wonka bar have a closer association. Stewart confirmed the matter was brought to his attention by some African American actors, and he also claimed to have changed the title, saying, "If people say I saw Willy Wonka, people would know that they were talking about it. If they say I saw Charlie, it doesn't mean anything." Let's see, and then I had it and I lost it. But essentially, Roald Dahl, he disowned the book when he he disowned the film when he saw that there were so many changes from the book that he wanted nothing to do with it. Yeah, so David Wolper and Roald Dahl agreed that Dahl would write the screenplay, and though he's credited, he did not deliver a completed screenplay.
Well, basically, there were some creative differences, and say they end up pulling in somebody else to kind of finish everything else up.
Yeah, and that would be David. And if I'm right, that would be David Seltzer because I was looking at it earlier.
And that was the first film that he ended up doing.
Yes.
So, but I guess like he added the Slugworth subplot because they wanted a villain because Hollywood's got to always have a villain, otherwise American audiences won't pay a fucking attention. And then a few other things that they added to keep it like just because it was
because it's Hollywood.
Yeah, exactly. Although somebody else I didn't see, I forgot they said Kaufman was the one who added the short skits, the short scenes we saw leading up to like the hysteria that we were laughing our asses off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was somebody totally different who ended up doing those.
So, initial thoughts.
I'm gonna start. So it's been a very, very long time since I've seen this movie from the beginning. I was commenting before that I've probably seen this movie not the most, but more than most fucking films I've ever seen. Simply because it's always on TV. But even so, it's always on TV. So is like fucking G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra, whatever the hell. I don't watch that just because it's on. I watch this. Like, oh, Willy Wonka's on. Well, let's see what else is on. And there's literally nothing else on, I'll watch it. And sometimes, even if there is other shit on, I'll watch it. Just because, like, yeah, but I still really like this movie. I actually thought going into this film that I was going to give it a lower rating than I'm going to end up giving it. A lot of it, just because, like, it's...
I was actually there with you.
Okay.
I was thinking this was going to be a much lower rated than I'm probably going to end up rating this.
Now that I've watched it, I'm like, no,
Yeah.
don't you do it. There's a reason why this fucking movie is amazing, and you keep watching it whenever the fuck. And now I really appreciate some of the other things like that I didn't notice or pay attention to, either from a critical point of view or certainly as an adult when I've watched the movie as a child. And I think some of it is because when you're watching it for like the 900,000th time from watching as a kid in the same way, it's just some things like kind of like wash over you and you just accept it. Because, oh yeah, that's fine, that's blah, blah, blah. That's a joke. The guy didn't notice that it was a joke. And then you watch it again and you're paying attention, you're like, oh, that was a dick joke. How did I just never get that? I don't think there are any dick jokes in this film that I can think of.
No, there weren't.
But there were very much a lot of tongue-in-cheek like humor that I didn't realize was tongue-in-cheek humor in the way that they were doing it until, holy shit, they just did that. But yeah, no, and some of it I think is also like it's a little bit of British humor, and it is just a thing. But no, I was very happy to watch this from a critical point of view. I think I enjoyed it more than I probably have in a long time.
One villain Joe in the world. I'm sure there's a dick in there somewhere.
We weren't watching out for it if there was.
So we have one viewer who is agreeing that Grandpa Joe is the villain, and one viewer who is adamantly against Grandpa Joe.
Ooh,
well, that's
the fight in the comments. Let's go.
Yep, start the fight.
Let's go. Ring the bell. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, I will go next, and I will say that this film is still. I still believe this film is enjoyable. Even as an adult, there is obviously we grew up with it, and there is a large amount of nostalgia for this movie. There is a good amount of humor, and there's a lot of stuff that as a child you don't really catch until you're an adult. And like you said, Ari, it's a good amount of British humor for a film that doesn't really seem very British.
I mean, well, most of the actors are British.
Oh, and then at the end, you can hear the little boy, Mike TV. You can hear his accent slipping in the TV set when he was saying, "Am I coming in clear?"
Yeah.
I
wasn't even catching.
I was like, huh. I never really noticed accents, but that one I know.
Okay.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, it always was weird that you said it like that to me. I
guess for me, one thing that always bothered me was why are Grandpa Joe? I mean, for a movie that's based in what seems to be based in England, why are Grandpa Joe and Charlie and his mom the only ones with an American?
Because it's an American movie. That's why.
That's fair.
Did you mention the part about Quaker Oats roll in all of this, by the way?
Is she going?
Of course she is.
Tully, come on, let's go. Let's go.
One moment, y'all. We'll be right back.
Let's go. Up, come on, go.
I'm gonna do some trivia while we're waiting.
Sure.
Actually catch her before she did anything.
Apparently, the wallpaper was actually pretty gross to lick, which I was actually thinking when that happened.
Sure it was.
Ew.
I think we're still alive.
Yeah, no, I wanted to read off some
sure,
trivia
sure.
to fill in the time. Peter Ostrom actually never did another film.
I saw that.
For the rest of his life. Mm-hmm. So basically, he did this, and that's Charlie.
Then he bought a horse.
And then at the premiere, it didn't do very well. So because of that, he bought a horse, and that took him to go. Yeah, I was trying to see that straight up.
He's saying Slugworth was the real villain.
Okay, no, it's not, because at the end, it's revealed that Slugworth works for Wonka.
Yeah.
That's not...
His footing after
blood. No, you're terrible. You're wrong. But anyway, so he bought a horse, and because of that, he turned into a veterinarian.
Yep.
But he did audition for one more thing, but didn't get it. So apparently the only one still acting is Violet.
No, I think it's
of
Veruca.
The child actors.
Veruca.
Was it Veruca?
It's Veruca. And apparently they've all stayed pretty close after all these years.
And then, that too. And also, when Gene Wilder passed in 2016, Peter Ostrom, who played Charlie, changed his bio to former child actor, veterinarian, and inherited a chocolate factory on the day of Gene Wilder's death.
Aww.
Yeah,
that's
just really nice.
Very
sweet. There's some trivia. Okay, we can go back to your...
One more trivia I was just mentioning about, I think, why it's American. The people who made it, obviously, are American. And also because one of the people who made it was in talks with the Quaker Oats Company, which I saw immediately when we were doing the intro credits. I never noticed before, because I never watched the movie from the fucking beginning. Like, Quaker Oats Company, get fucked!
Yep.
And because they were looking for a way of basically promoting a new chocolate company that they were creating, or candy bar or whatever,
yep.
And that they ended up calling the Wonka Candy Factory, which we still see, but was later sold to Nestle. So that is basically why, because capitalism.
So fun fact, actually, as I was watching the movie, if you pay close attention to when Charlie's unwrapping the bar when he discovers the golden ticket, the copyright or the stamp on the wrap does say Chicago, Illinois in there.
Of course it does.
So they were able to get that in there because...
Well, that's where it is, the company's based out of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, product placement. So back to my initial thoughts.
Actually, before you do that...
Sure.
I need you to help me with something.
Okay.
As there is a fight going on in the comments.
Alright, let's go.
I'm going to be Strange.
That's fine, because
and you're going to be Hidari.
Okay. Where do we want to start? How dare you disrespect Grandpa Joe? There's only one villain Joe in the whole world. You know who's the villain? Joe.
The man pretended to be a cripple, but the second the golden ticket is found, this motherfucker can walk. Fuck off, Grandpa Joe. All because he didn't want to work, which is mood. But fuck off.
The real villain is not Joe, but the guy who asked Charlie to steal the everlasting gobstopper. He straight set up all those kids to get themselves hurt. Grandpa Joe was struggling to walk, but found his footing after getting blood flowing into his legs again. So...
That old man was faking, Hidari, and you know it!
He got in those kids' ear and told them to mess things up. If he did it, they would have not did that. He was not. He was old and he couldn't use his legs because he's been working all his life. He eventually got his footing back because he's been off them for so long.
He was. We're not living in a world where we're going to give old white people the benefit of the doubt. It was Grandpa Joe. It was him all along, Austin. And scene.
There was an previous review by Matthew Duncan and Juice.
And hi, Ed. How you doing? Ed says, what's up, y'all? Wife has been asking about you, too. Hi, wifey. Hi, Ed. Are y'all talking about a show? Yes, we are talking about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory today. The original with Gene Wilder, the only good one.
The good one, yes. So back to my initial thoughts. Nostalgia. It's fun. It's light. I personally believe it's still enjoyable, but it could be a generational thing. I know I've asked my niece, I've asked Julieta if she's ever watched it, and I want to say she might have said no because she actually enjoys Tim Burton's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Probably because that's all she's ever seen.
That's probably.
Ew.
I know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, this movie is it's a lot. There's a lot going on as well, but no, I think it's still a good time.
Ew. Really?
Yeah, really.
What, this movie's a good time?
No, that likes Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
But why?
Because she is Gen Z.
God
damn, and because she loves weird dark shit.
This movie is weird and fucking dark.
Yeah, but that movie is visually dark.
Yeah, but it's the magic.
Okay.
It's all over the place.
So you've gone?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Okay. So my initial impressions, I came in thought I was going to rip this movie apart. I actually ended up enjoying myself quite a bit. There's something about Gene Wilder and his comedy that I could watch over and over again. Like, we actually ended up buying this movie because it was cheaper, just a better honestly, deal.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure we were going to watch it enough to justify it. But now, after watching it, I'm convinced that over our lifetime, we'll probably watch this a few more times. That'll justify the money we spent.
I don't know why we thought we weren't, because some like I just mentioned, we watch it all the time. All of us have watched it at some point very soon when TV's on in front of us. Why the fuck wouldn't we just throw it on?
And I mean, this is one you could turn on if you're having a party or you're cleaning or something like that. Like, this is a good background.
This is
movie.
it's comfort food.
Yeah.
Very much. And you got some fun background music in the going on while you're doing whatever it is you're doing about the house. So
yeah, and each section of the movie has its own hook that is super entertaining and will draw you in.
Yeah. This was in the 1950s, or whatever year. It was the 70s. Put respect on GPJ. And I got a golden ticket. Edward says the OG one is better. Agreed. It didn't need a remake. Nope. Strange says that he thinks his wife likes the new one, but she also likes Jaden Smith karaoke kids or Karate Kids. So yeah. And then as you can play music while cleaning.
And that's true. And usually I do play music, but if I wanted to throw on a movie, this could be a movie you could throw on.
Yeah.
Speaking of music, shout out to Jay Taj. Check him out. He's actually pretty decent from Rhythm and Flow. Anyway. So the good.
The good. This is my pick this week, so how about somebody else go with the good?
Okay, so the good, the music is well paced out. It's not overwhelming. And the songs aren't, like, super long.
No.
I noticed. I remember them, like, dragging when I was a kid, and that's part of the reason I didn't think I was going to enjoy this watcher. But I think it's because I had very little patience as a child. Still, I have very little patience, but I have a little more perspective now. These are, like, 30-second songs. These are not overbearing or long-winded songs.
No, but I actually like the with the exception of the Oompa Loompa songs. Like, the Oompa Loompa songs are nice and quick, but the like some of the other songs, they're not like 4 minutes long or anything either. They're good bites. I mean, they're like 2-minute songs.
Yeah, the only song that really dragged and I really didn't care for was the one of Mom singing to Charlie at the beginning.
It's forgettable.
Like, I don't need that.
It's terrible pacing for that.
Yeah. Everything else is fine. I really liked, the set pieces are great. There's no, like, terrible special effects except 2 moments that I can think of. Um, one though is like they didn't have anything else, and the other one I guess they didn't have anything else. It was just a terrible effect. One was changing Violet purple.
Okay.
It's pretty obvious how they did it, and kind of cheap. But that was all they had back then, so that doesn't bother me as much. What does bother me is, well, that's bad. So let's not talk about that.
No,
Basically, my point was that the special effects actually go pretty well throughout. The acting performances are great. The kids really dive into their roles. The parents are really good. The car salesman was hilarious. Then each one kind of mirrored their kids' personalities, which is always an own little. It's the little messages in here too. Messages about parenting, messages about behavior, and just capitalism and the world in general. A lot of really dark humor moments that were really good. And a couple of dark humor moments that are like that did not age very well, but in the most hilarious way. So no, the comedy is done very well. The pacing, the writing, the acting, it's all done very well. So I'll leave it at that. Sweetheart.
So my good for this film is he really should be a great. There's a couple. I have a couple breaks, but my goods for this film are I don't know what to say about it, honestly, because there's a lot. The writing, the directing, and I know there's some challenges with both of those things, but overall, I think there's a reason why this film there's lots of films that we can watch when we were younger. Here's the thing. Here's the other thing I want to point out real quick. We grew up with this movie, but this was in the 70s. So when any of us were watching it, we were watching it more than likely in the 90s. So 20 years after in fact, this movie came out. 90s, early 2000s, whatever. And so that the idea is like, oh, it's older film. Like, it was older when we watched it.
Yeah.
And so, like, the fact that it has stood this long, like, a testament to a test of time or whatever, I think is indicative of its quality. For the most part, it ages well. There are some things that I think are problematic, but that's almost as much a symptom of any film that's made before, like, 2011 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, this is a fun, enjoyable, easy to turn your mind off while still being engaged kind of film.
Yeah.
And it actually kind of moves pretty quickly. It's dark while being still kind of light in a lot of ways. I understand that there's elements of it that probably are not as dark as Dahl would have liked when the final product was made, which may have been where some of the creative differences were, and especially with what is shown with what they ended up going with after he walked away from the project. But we saw the darker version in Tim Burton's vision, and I'm not a fan.
Question.
Yes.
Have you read the book?
Nope.
Okay.
I just know Roald Dahl. And his shit tends to get dark.
That's fair.
And so yeah, maybe not dark like Edgar Allan Poe dark, but I think it's more because so much of it focuses on the dark side of childhood without focusing on like the super shitty shit that happens to the dark side of childhood. Is like the exploitation that kids go through, or the power imbalance that they are experiencing by virtue of being children. And that is very, I think it would be, if you were to extrapolate an argument or like that, it's is similar to that of the power imbalance that exists in capitalism, which is a central theme in a lot of his stories. So, or not a lot of them, or at least some of the ones I'm familiar with. And so, I've been talking to my ass a little bit, but I digress. The point is that I don't care that it wasn't that dark. It was dark enough, I think. And I think most of the darkness came from Gene Wilder.
Oh, yeah.
And just his interpretation of Willy Wonka, and that's enough for me. honestly, like, because I saw the dark version, and while Johnny Depp, I'm sure, did a good job, it's hard to tell because that movie was such trash. So,
couple comments. Okay, I'm trying to figure out where we left off. Jesus, everyone went in.
Let's go.
Okay, so Ed said the OG one is better. It didn't need a remake.
I said that.
Okay, here we go. So
I went a little before so I can catch it all.
Okay.
Strange said I think my wife likes the newer one, but also like Jaden Smith Karate Kid. So yeah.
Okay, you want to pick up from there? In character.
That
Jaded Karate Kid kick was cold as fuck.
Oh. Okay, so Hidari just has bad taste in movies. Got it!
I just don't compare movies to predecessors, except for Child's Play. That one I compared and was thoroughly disappointed.
If you're gonna do a remake, it has to be good or better, Hidari. You can't say, I'm not gonna compare its predecessor. It invited that criticism by being a remake.
And compare the ones to the books like that, then, Strange.
Ari, it's not as dark as it could have been. Me, still scared shitless at that Gene Wilder scene.
Oh, yeah.
I do not compare the book, Hidari!
Then say you're upset the Gene Willy Wonka movie isn't great because they changed the MC nationality.
Ooh, shots fired. Pow, 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 pow. And scene. Alright.
Wait, so the main character is African American?
Originally.
Really?
In the original version of Dahl's book, he wanted it to be, and his publishers convinced him to change it.
Interesting.
I probably didn't know that because it's been all over Facebook for a couple of years now.
Oh no, I never knew that. I never read the. So just like you, I've never read the.
It's not in the book. It's what was. It came out after, like way later on. That's what he wanted it to be, but like his publishers changed it. One of the things they changed in the film that for some reason that Dahl was kind of fighting for, or was disappointed with, was the Oompa Loompas. Because instead of them being like African in looking pygmies like they are in the book,
he changed
them to like more fantasy looking characters.
I think that was a better option.
I personally do too.
Yeah,
I think it was the idea again is that darkness where he's like, I want people to feel like this guy is not necessarily a good guy. Like,
and you kind of get so no, let me continue. You kind of get that by his quirks and mannerisms because there's more going on that he's not telling, and you can see it a lot in his expressions and some of the things that he says. And there's one thing that I read was the way that he was written. Go back to the production. So I believe it was Setzer.
Yeah.
He created the recurring theme that Wonka would quote from various literary sources. So I think that's an interesting part of his character to add on, to just make it seem like this man is not normal.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he lives in a chocolate factory with little orange men by himself. That's kind of weird in and of itself, and that he shut himself off from the world. So
that he put on a ship and brought over to work for him.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna talk about that later.
Convinced him to leave their homeland. All right.
So Ari, is that it for your good, or do you have any more?
I too much of my good is gonna be in the great, so I'm just gonna leave it.
Okay, sure. So my good, the movie's fun. The performances are good. I enjoy most of the songs. The set pieces look fantastic. There's some very interesting. I mean, the cinematography's fine for the time. Nothing too crazy, but that shot of the of the chocolate room after they open the door and you just get that panning shot in that small set, like they do a lot with what they're given. And while I hate to have to continue to compare, but what they do later on, just it's odd and fantastical as it should because of advancements in technology, but this felt just more grounded and realistic. You know, I know I know that this is supposed to have some fantastical elements, but this to me at least keeps it a little bit more grounded. Because it looks real and it feels real. Another interesting thing I read was that the chocolate river, the river of chocolate, was actually chocolate.
Yes.
So that's fun and cool, and I thought
expensive
as shit. Yeah, so it was chocolate, sugar, and cream apparently. So yeah, there you go.
Pain in the ass and stuff in the production.
I'm sure it was. The kids are good. I mean, again, there is a lot of depth into this film that you don't realize as a child, and you see kind of as an adult. While this movie is rated G, you know, obviously general audiences, it's made in a way that children are going to enjoy for the fun, fantastical elements, but adults are going to enjoy for the things that the kids aren't going to pick up.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right. So that's it for my good for the most part. Ari does a lot of. Ari, you covered a good amount of what we're thinking and explained it in a much better way than I possibly could.
Thank you.
So with that being said, unless you have any.
No, I'm ready to move on to the bad.
We're on the same page. We're on the same page.
However, we have some more argument to continue.
Let's go.
So again, I am playing the role of Strange.
I am playing the role of Hadari.
Okay, so I believe we're on the last one was the main character's nationality. The Gene Wilder one is still good with the changes it made. The Tim Burton one sucks with the changes it made.
I agree. Tim Burton's Wonka sucks.
And so does Jaden Smith's Karate Kid. The only good is Jackie, and he can't save that film.
Unfortunately, he can't.
Wow, I've never seen it. I kind of wanted to, honestly.
Told my wife you all were calling Grandpa Joe a villain. Her response in all caps: he is.
But you can't say that kick wasn't great and legal. He did a legal kick. He was not.
Oh my god, I fucking love Jade.
What magical everything is good world? What magical everything is good world do you live in? Or is it drugs?
What are you talking about, Strange? Continue.
And I know you read it like, he was not!
Yeah,
but
he was not!
I couldn't help but read it like the guy from The Room. I did not hit her! I did not!
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
I've never seen The Room. But
and neither have I! I've just seen clips of those scenes.
You know, Tommy
oh my god, The Room's going on the wheel, isn't it?
Oh, God. Moving on to
I'm not putting it on
You
there.
thought my choices were bad before. Wait till I put Troll 2 in The Room on there.
Moving on to the bad.
Okay.
Who would like to start?
I'll start with the bad.
Sure.
Oh, you have it, baby.
The only thing I really have is that one effect with Mike TV talking to his mother.
Okay.
When they show him from the back,
And
it's just...
And her on the big screen?
So obvious that she's on a screen.
Yeah.
When she's not supposed to be. They're supposed to be in the same room. That's the only really bad... Well, some of the golden eggs look plastic.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it's just the aging of some of the special effects was like, I get it, it's 70s, but still, it has to be said after the quality that we have now.
I think it does, actually, but that's okay.
Well, agree to disagree. I really don't have much else bad except for... No, those are all ugly things, so go ahead.
I'll go next. I don't think my bad's going to be very long. I don't even know if I really have any major... For me, there's no real major bad for this movie.
No, I have more ugly than that.
Yeah, no, there's definitely going to be more ugly.
I have a ton of good, I have a great, I have almost no bad,
Yeah.
I have ugly.
Yeah, no, there's not really anything bad in this movie. As far as special effects goes, like the only real special effects are that with Mike talking to his mom, the fizzy lifting drinks when you can see the now in 2024 with HD, you can see the effect of Grandpa Joe and Charlie, cropped
Oh yeah.
When they're photoshopped into the ceiling room.
Yeah.
You could kind of make it out, and then the last thing would be the Wonka Vader flying up in the sky. That's the only. So. No, I can't give them a bad for that. So during the fizzy lifting drinks, if you don't pay attention, you won't catch it. And I wasn't necessarily paying attention for it, but at the same time, you realize, okay, this is this movie was made. Oh, this movie's made.
1971.
Okay, so this movie's made in 1971. You know, obviously they have to figure out a way. They have to use harnesses and whatnot to get them to flip in the air and fly and whatnot. So the scene when they're flipping, even though you don't really catch it, it's like if you kind of pay attention real quick, you can see the harness on the side of Charlie's belt and in Grandpa Joe's jacket. But that's a time thing, and I'm not gonna hold that against them. So yeah, all right.
I have an interesting take. I was going on Reddit real quick about Roald Dahl's changing of the Oompa Loompas like race. They don't change it for the movie. They change it for a different reshoot of the book. Or rewriting the book, that they go from being pygmies to being like white rosy Norwegianers or whatever from the land of Oompa Loompa. And then the movie, I think,
It's Loompa Land.
From Loompa Land, sorry. And then they changed that to being orange-tinted characters for the movie, probably just because it was easier at that point rather than wade into those waters. So I mentioned that they have political correctness and they can excuse for racism because of the times, quote unquote. And I'm not going to get into that right now, but it makes me think of the idea of trying to compare the special effects of a movie from way before some of these things were even thought possible that we see and almost take advantage of, and probably can do ourselves if we really are so inclined to do so using AI, Adobe Photoshop, and have enough time and like wherewithal to do so on our own.
Yeah.
Like an iPhone. Like I feel like I just want to make that clear. I don't want to rip a movie for the standard of special effects that were effective at the time the film was created. If they sucked for the times they created, that's one thing. If they don't hold up, like even like a little bit, even after like a year or so, then, or if it's like almost distracting, I guess. The problem is how much are you looking for it? So some of those things that you're mentioning, don't distract me because I'm not paying attention to them, and I don't really like. I'm not looking for them anymore.
No, of course.
It's if like a boom mic comes in out of frame or whatever, or something like that, like bullshit like that. That's just shoddy workmanship.
You see the director's reflection in the
It's the guidelines, the planes in Godzilla 1954.
Yeah.
But it's also watching a silent movie from 1925 or whatever and being like, well, this sucks because it's silent. Like they didn't. Like, do you understand like the challenge I have? So like, I feel like some of it is like it's kind of like a vintage patina. Like the way that you have like an old piece of furniture or an old like artwork that has clearly been like stained over time or whatever, and any attempt at trying to like rehab it, you can do the best you can, but you got to be careful not to do too much because one, it looks almost too new, and two, it actually might ruin some of the quality. So that's the only thing I would ask us to do when we look at the quality of special effects specifically.
Sure.
When it comes to films like this that are much, much older than us and looking at them critically, is they were using the best they had at the time.
That's fair.
And I'm not, and it's not so much that I'm roasting or that we're roasting, except for like the screen. But I guess it's just more so a commentary.
No, and that's my perspective. I would ask you guys to consider it. You obviously don't have to, but I would if you don't have anything else besides that, then honestly, that's a good thing.
It's just the way I look at it. This whole series is not just for people coming in to hear our thoughts on movies they've already seen. It's also maybe they've never seen it.
Yeah. And
while there may be spoilers, some people are okay with spoilers and want to know. So the bad and all that is like, okay, be ready for this.
That's fair. That is fair.
So that's more the way I look at it.
Okay. I think there's always a room for both.
Yeah.
Is that like if you're ready for a film like this that's older, then just expect there's going to be things that you're not going to be used to seeing in terms of like special effects.
I'm going to start fighting with the comments in a second.
You just like right over my punchline.
Sorry.
I said it's because they don't expect certain things like, you know, special effects or casual racism. You know, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But misogyny, whatever. But the idea is that like also these things can get pointed out. You know, but it's okay to like if you can still enjoy it without noticing it. That all said, the one thing that I really bothered me with this movie is the pacing. For the most part, the pacing goes well, but I think it's telling that they had at least 3 different writers that we're aware of whose hands went into the script. The first part is the tone is markedly different than the rest of the film.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing. There is a bit of a like whiplash that kind of comes with it, but you don't really. It's not that bad because the whiplash is being like provided by Gene Wilder's performance, so you almost don't even notice it. It's one of those like, oh, I have whiplash. You don't notice it until the adrenaline's gone down. You get home, you're like, wow, why am I neck so fucking sore? Like that sort of thing. But the song with the mom feels forced. So that sort of thing. Like that's my biggest bad. And I'm done.
Okay. Now, the ugly.
I'll go first.
Or do we want to read comments first before we get into the ugly?
Go ahead and read comments first.
Yeah, because I have some beef here.
All right, let's see. Okay, so the last thing. I live in reality.
Oh my god.
Oh, if the room goes on the wheel, I might need to take that Wednesday off. I'm done arguing with Hidari. He's wrong. I'm moving on. Actually, if the room or Velocipaster come up, I'm taking Wednesday off to come over and review.
Why am I not seeing that?
I am not wrong. There are terrible movies, just like that Captain Marvel movie. I just know not every remake is terrible. Which Captain Marvel movie?
Captain Marvel.
The Captain Marvel movie.
The first one?
Yeah.
I'm thinking the Marvels.
Stop It, Captain Marvel wasn't terrible. The sequel was.
There we go.
But the first one was fully middle of the road. Karate Kid Jaden Smith is below average, and an unearned kick because he saw a snake doesn't help.
It was bad watching it. I hated it. I paid money for it, and I wanted a refund.
Okay, so the first Captain Marvel, Strange is right. It's very middle of the road, but fine.
It's
The Marvels was actually pretty fucking good, so both of y'all can eat my ass. I enjoyed the hell out of the Marvels. Miss Marvel is fantastic. Captain Marvel is great. And Photon is fun too. There is so much good about the Marvels, including the introduction of the fucking X-Men into the MCU. So I'm gonna need both of y'all to sit and spit.
The only thing with the Marvels is it suffers from lack of promotion because of the writer's strike.
I wouldn't say that's the only thing. I really actually did have an issue with the villain. Like, the villain's arc in general. Like, it just felt like they needed somebody for them to fight, and they didn't really have a good build-up or establishment of that villain. And so the rest of the movie kind of suffers as a result. The team itself, the individuals, their roles, their act, like, what they did with what was in front of them, I thought they were all fantastic, and I did enjoy that action, but at the same time, like, I am not invested in it, because I know you're going to win.
Yeah, the stakes don't feel real.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, because you didn't build up this villain as anything worth fighting. So,
but that's a review for another day.
It is. Ugly. I'm trying to...
Yeah, I'm going to let you start there.
Okay. So, my ugly is, capitalism 2 times. That's the first one, or the first 2, I guess. Capitalism...
2 times.
With it 2 times. The first one is the obvious one, where it's like, I'm reading some of the stuff talking about, like, Roald Dahl's decision with regards to how he wrote his book, and, like, the decision-making that went into creating the Pygmy characters, and also, like, having a character like Charlie being black. And it's just, like, this weird, like, okay, you were aware of enough of the systemic, you know, like, failures of his society that you're like, okay, we're gonna make the protagonist a black child who... you know, is managing to rise up, and maybe that's part of some weird savior complex you have going on too, but alright, whatever, I'm gonna leave that one alone. And I get why you changed it. It sucks, but I do get it. But over here we have the Pygmies, and then some of the conversation that was going on with regards to discussion about that was more or less a commentary on Roald Dahl having grown up in very Columbia, like very still colonial Britain, and just how ready and they were he was just like, to accept the nature of like supremacy basically without any real reflection on it. And so that permeated some of his writing, and this is a very clear example of that. That, oh yeah, no, it's fine that we're shipping these, this quote unquote, we'll just call them lower class people over to work for us with no pay because we're saving them. They're starving, and they're gonna get eaten up, and like this is just terrible over what they're living, and we're gonna give them such a better life. And the reality is, yeah, not necessarily, and that actually is some of the argument that went into the slave trade itself originally. It's like, no, there's so much better what we're doing for these, animals, basically. And so, like, yeah, okay. Nah. But then, on top of that, the movie still doesn't seem to have any sort of reflection with you. I'm not going to, and I get that. But they're just going to point out there is a reflection on the fact that I brought them here, and they're having a much better life, living here in exploited labor for free. And I need someone to care for them after I'm gone, because we can't just let them go. I guess I don't know. We're not thinking that far ahead, and maybe because they're orange, we can pretend like, well, they're not really human, so it doesn't really matter. This is what they're doing, and they're happy to do it because every slave is happy in their world.
Yeah, because we saved them.
Yeah, exactly. It gives them fulfillment.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound. Do you hear yourself? You hear yourself, right? And so, it's that kind of never ever really questioning it. And honestly, I didn't even question it as a kid. And it didn't take until I was somewhere as an adult, yeah, that's weird. Starting to think maybe that wasn't such a good idea. But still loving this fucking movie, still willing and able to watch this movie, and almost unironically talk about, have fights in the comments about which one's better, despite there being actual slavery going on without any reflection or commentary to stop it as part of the runtime. Because the rest of the movie is so much more fun. Mm-hmm. And so, something that we all probably need to reflect on a little bit, but that's one of my first uglies. The other ugly with capitalism is the very fact that it was created as a way of advertising a brand new chocolate company. That's it.
Yeah.
I honest to God thought growing up that Wonka chocolate, that's named after the movie. No, the movie was named after it. That's what the movie was named after it. That's literally was product placement. It's a big, gigantic fucking advertisement for a new chocolate company.
So
that's all it was.
So fun thing. What fun thing that I remember growing up was growing up. You remember hearing about the Willy Wonka. It was called the Willy Wonka factory, right? That's what they called it.
Well, no, I mean it's a chocolate factory. It's Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
No, right. No. But according to what we saw, the company that they bought, they renamed it the Willy Wonka factory.
I think so.
Because that's where Nerds comes from. Nerds.
Nestle has it now.
Well, Nestle, right? No, Nestle has it now, but back then, for us growing up, because I remember there was never a Wonka bar when I was a kid. Watching this movie, I'm like, why don't we have Wonka bars?
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until about the late 90s, early 2000s that all of a sudden, hey kids, there's a Wonka bar now. And it's basically a graham cracker covered in chocolate.
The Willy Wonka candy factory.
Thank you. The Willy Wonka candy factory.
Company.
Candy company. I'm sorry. Thank you. So, yes. So, Nerds comes from that. And I'm blanking on whatever else came from that. But I specifically remember Nerds, and I also specifically remember anything else that could have been related to it. There was essentially a cartoon of a Gene Wilder-esque Willy Wonka after the commercials. So, yay capitalism.
Yep. Well, and so that's the other thing, too. I'm looking at the actual Wikipedia for Wonka bars. They're created by Quaker Oats. We know that. Funded by Quaker Oats. Quaker Oats chose how to market the bars. Which is fucking weird. Instead of selling the brand to their manufacturer Sunline, varieties of Wonka bars were manufactured and sold in the real world by the Wonka Company, a division of Nestle, were discontinued in January 2010 due to forced sales. That's ironic. There happened to 71 version of brown with pink, blah blah blah, in 2005. But here's the thing, I I don't. You're right. I don't remember seeing Wonka bars growing up either, which is even weirder that you guys did this for product placement for a product that never
existed.
Like yeah, exactly. Like, so what the hell?
And then and also everlasting gobstoppers did become a thing, but that wasn't until later. I don't think.
I feel like I had them when I was like maybe in like a teenager or something.
Right.
Like that.
So like in the 90s is when we got everlasting gobstoppers. So about 20 years after this movie was made is when they finally decided to make the marquee candy.
It says the release date was 1976, so they might have been doing it.
Oh, then I stand corrected.
Yeah, here's the other thing though too. Some of this might be regional.
Okay.
It's very possible that, which is weird because we live in the Chicago area, so of all places we were fucking getting it since the company was based in Chicago.
Yeah.
So just another ugly is that capitalism just sucks. Just capitalism in general, just fuck you. Other part of that was the whitewashing, slavery, all that stuff. Like we kind of covered it, which also technically kind of goes into the capitalism part. But I think for me, it's this movie, and its backstory is kind of all over the place about where we want to be in terms of like human rights. And the fact that I can't really honestly nail it down from what it was supposed to be to what it is now or any of that is just a little disconcerting. So I'm just going to chalk it up to, y'all don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and I'm just going to leave. And that in and of itself is just an ugly. So
real quick, can I give the list of products that were associated with
the
Willy Wonka Candy Company?
Sure.
So bottle caps, the everlasting gobstopper, Fun Dip, Laffy Taffy, Nerds, Pixie Sticks, Runts, Spree, Sweet Tarts, and anything Sweet Tarts related.
Well, see, I had all of those growing up except for the Wonka's candy bar or whatever.
Yeah, the Wonka bar I only had a couple times, and the only time I've ever seen it sold was at Family Video.
Yeah.
And I think it was about the time that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory came out.
That probably was last since 2005.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, the actual Wonka bar wasn't sold until late 90s, early 2000s. But these fruit candies are, I specifically remember Nerds having like the Wonka logo on
there. Now that you mention it, and that might be like a little bit of a Mandela effect for me, but you're probably fucking right. Because like, how closely did you look at your goddamn candy bar or box or whatever when you were eating it as a kid? You just torched that fucker. You barely recognized the letters.
So funnily enough, I never really cared for a lot of fruit candies growing up. And I still kind of don't. I was more of a chocolate kid growing up, but I can still remember like after some of those commercials I see animated Willy Wonka popping out, kind of like he's just standing there doing something. I don't remember, but I do remember a cartoon Gene Wilder looking Willy Wonka.
Oh, I don't remember that at all.
I kind of remember that.
Other ugly, Ari.
That's basically it. It was just whitewashing and capitalism 2 times. I'm sure there's probably more I could think of. Oh, the last one. No, there's a couple more I think about it. Give me a second. The whole thing with Willy Wonka, like, I need a child to take over after me, and like, because the grown-up would just do what they want to do. They want to do what I wanted to do. Like, I get wanting to make sure that your legacy is left in the hands of somebody else who's gonna follow your vision. Not knocking that. It's kind of creepy that you feel like you're giving it to a child, which, okay, 1, OSHA, and then 2, they're going to be an adult at some point. Mm-hmm. So you're just, I don't want to say grooming, but definitely molding them to, like, indoctrinating. That's what it kind of feels like, in order for them to not have a single thought.
But it's okay because they're getting everything you ever wanted.
When you're 10. I can't tell you what I wanted when I was 10, but I guarantee you, like, a bunch of that shit would not overlap with what I want now.
Yeah.
So some of it would. A lot of money is probably in all of it, but still.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, at 10 years old, his family will be out of poverty. Mm-hmm. He's gonna have a place to live. Mm-hmm. He's inheriting essentially billions of dollars. Mm-hmm. So then when he becomes an adult, what does he have to stress about? The company that he's been tasked to charge and to run, that somebody is actually actively trying to ruin for him. Fair. So, like, and he has this, like, now also the caretaker of this race of people.
And Lord knows what the health inspector will do when they actually see any of this stuff. Because they gotta come in eventually, right? And some of them should be coming in occasionally. Like, I get it, it's 70s, and that's, health concerns, health safety was barely a thing. But a little later on down the road, they start to really care if your shit is poisoning people because blueberry people, like, every once in a while a blueberry gets through or something. So. Yeah, no, you still have to make sure you're making a quality product and all other crap, the crap that goes with having a successful business. But no, the idea is it almost kind of feels like he needs someone to indoctrinate in order to make sure that he continues his vision instead of giving it over to somebody that he trusts to run it similarly, but with his own impression of how to do so when he eventually becomes an adult, because I think that's one of the worst things we do for kids is we tend to treat them like they're going to be kids forever.
Yeah.
They don't need to know this stuff. They don't need to know this stuff. They're just kids. Like, no, you're right. Some stuff they don't need to know yet. But you know there's a yet at the end of that statement that should be happening. And a lot of people, or I think, the way that we operate sometimes ignores that part. Either because it's easier for us or easier for the kids, I can't tell. But, yeah, that's kind of my thing. I did have one more, but I forgot what it was. If I think of it, I'll just jump in.
So my only ugly is that there are plenty of times you can make some really dark jokes about this movie and it makes sense. For example, the Candyman ushering children behind his counter.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like they're going into a back room for a second before you realize they're just getting all the candy off the walls. But that's definitely like, yes, children, come into my back room. I have more candy back there. It was.
I got popsicles in my oh my god, you did that way too well.
It was not okay. It was not okay. Other than that, just everything you said. There's problematic things that were fine in the 70s that are not fine now. So be ready for that.
Yep. Okay, so so you think giving a gun to a 12-year-old is a good idea?
No.
Oh, that's
that shit in there too.
That's just Merca.
No, but I feel like that was more. I feel like that was almost more satirical, and that's why they did it.
Possibly, but
so yeah.
Oh no, strange.
In the 70s, who fucking
I
knows?
love dark jokes too, but again, I'm telling this from the perspective of someone who might be walking into this who may not want dark humor and may not want that. Give me all the dark humor. It made the movie even better for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so that's more satirical, like you said. Yeah. No, my ugly is a grown man. One just pulling hair off of a child, like grabbing.
Yeah.
There was a lot of
lack of concern for safety all over the place.
That and also, a grown man just touching children. What seemed kind of, well, not completely inappropriately, but it was very off. When he grabbed Mike's hair, and then when he grabbed Veruca's face, when she's licking the wallpaper.
I see that.
That's no, and then everything else that you guys said. I'm trying to think if there was anything else specifically, but I don't think so. No, I don't know. It might come up. So I think that'll be it from my ugly as well. And capitalism.
Okay.
All right, you're great.
Can
I go? Because I just have
go
one.
Go ahead and go. Yeah.
Gene Wilder.
I know. Yes.
Go ahead.
What's your grade?
My grade is the scene in the boat when they go through the tunnel.
That's a good one too.
It's a great scene. It is creepy as shit.
To this day.
Yeah. There's something. It's very off-putting when you're going into a dark tunnel and then the next thing you see are images of insects and other creepy creatures.
Yeah.
While it seems like everything seems to be going faster and faster, and the guy that is essentially running the tour and whose lives you're in the hand of is just spouting and singing nonsense.
Insane shit. Yeah.
But it looks amazing.
Mercy.
Looks amazing.
My good actually is probably one of the more unexpected ones. Oh, greats. I mean, sorry. All of those are great. They would easily be in my top 3 of great things. One of my other greats is, honestly, now having watched this movie from the fucking beginning, is the beginning. It's the base, not all of it, because in that beginning is a lot of scenes with his family, which I can just put that to the side. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but that's not where the great is for me. The great for me is the random, ordinary, regular ass people building up this need to find this golden ticket, creating that fervor, like that, like to kind of like show how crazy and insane everyone is about it. Almost the cartoonish levels. The teacher, the newscasters, the fucking people, like the wife whose husband is being held for ransom, and she's like, "Can I think about it?" Like, no, like
very toilet paper in the pandemic response.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah, but like the way it's written is like I had a dream once like about where the last ticket is, but it was just a dream. Tell me where the ticket is. Like like how insane people were getting over it, and it's hilarious. I never really paid much attention to it. Again, barely ever since from the beginning, and now I don't know if I'll have the same outlook looking at it again because I'll be expecting it. But it was fantastic. And the last part, the reason why I say the beginning is I still get chills when Charlie is just opening up that last candy bar, and he's like bated breath, pulls it back a little bit more, and there's the goal, and he's like, that's all you needed to see, and you just feel like this, it's coming, but you feel like this giddy relief that comes over you from watching him go through that scene.
Yeah.
And it's because built beautifully. He opens like 6 of them.
No, he only opened, that was his 3rd one.
No, 4th, actually.
He tells the teacher, I only opened 2.
Yes, and then he goes to the store and he buys a Scrumdiddlyumptious bar.
Yeah, the Scrumdiddlyumptious.
And that didn't have anything.
That was
so then the Wonka.
He just tore into the Scrumdiddlyumptious because at that point,
it's
that point he hadn't heard.
But no, I'm not saying that the story was built in suspense. It's still a subtext of suspense because it's still another bar that he's opening. It's like when you're it's subliminal messaging. Yeah. It's you're seeing him keep opening these bars and there's nothing.
Yeah.
Whether there's supposed to be something there or not, he keeps opening chocolate bars, and then you have the last one. I feel like that's why you get such a rise from that.
Well, I think that one was. Aside from now we know the thing is open or is not over, and it's that it even calls it the classic Wonka bar, and that's going to be the one that everyone was winning off of.
Yeah.
The Scrumdiddlyumptious, like he was saying, he was hiding them so people wouldn't like go through them or whatever as much. But I don't know if it's because everyone expected the one to be in there as well, or if he just didn't want to run at them too fast or whatever. But the candy store owner is like. It's also kind of building into this like notion that there's no suspense anymore.
Yeah.
It's gone. Like I can just give this to you and not worry about it. Everything is normal now. But I think also because Charlie so rarely is able, he's never able to go into that candy store and buy his own candy. That's the first time he goes into the store in the whole fucking movie. Yeah. Everyone else has gotten candy for him. Has given him the candy. He's never bought it himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just one of my commentaries at the beginning of the movie is. The candy store owner is just tossing candy out. Now we don't know if these kids are paying for it or not. We're assuming. And then poor Charlie's just standing out there as he's watching his classmates just being given candy. These kids are being allowed to go behind the counter, essentially, and just picking candy off of the walls.
Yeah.
And poor Charlie's just standing out in the window like...
I can't afford a fucking gumdrop.
No.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like that. There's the first candy bar that he just tears into because he's just that ravenous at this point. But also, like he gets the classic bar, right? The one that symbolizes the golden ticket opportunity, and that's the first time he gets it because he bought it. It wasn't given to him, and I think that's part of probably also the story. If I was to guess that's a central part of the transition from the movie from the book to the movie, I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of the things that stays in there because it's kind of like him taking ownership of his future. He's never gonna get anything given to him. He has to go out there and get it. And so like, I don't know. That's not what I was thinking of when I'm watching it. It's just like in second thought, looking back and thinking about some of the messages that was going through the decision making with making this movie. All I know is that as a kid, you want him to get the golden ticket because you want to get the golden. It's the same reason why when you watch game shows, you cheer for somebody, right? You're trying to shout the answers to them so they can get the answers somehow too. But like it's through vicarious or whatever, living through vicariously basically. And when he's happy, you're happy because he gets the golden ticket, and that joy that I may have a better life, that joy, like I won something finally, like that translates still. I'm watching this now in my emergency. So like I love that's a great for me.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. So out of 10, where are we ranking this? Where are we rating this movie? Now, I would like to hear what you guys think, because you guys said you wanted to rate it lower.
I was probably gonna rate it about a 7.
Okay.
I was gonna probably be at 7.5.
That's kind of where I was thinking.
I was thinking 6.5, 7 going into it.
Yeah, and then now I'm like, okay, 7.5, 8.
I am solidly at an 8.
Okay.
I think I could do 8.
I'm. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go with the crowd and go with 8, just because, like, I think.
We have unanimous?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This is a first.
I couldn't go any higher than that, and part of the reason why I still might lean towards 7.5 is some of the uglies we talked about.
Yeah.
So instead of it being down at 7, the great things that happened with it brought it up to an 8, but some of the other things still brought it back to a 7.5 sort of thing. But I was leaning really heavily towards a 7, possibly even as low as a 6.5, depending. But then we started watching it, like, wow, this movie's fucking great.
All right, I had a good one this week.
Yay.
Yeah.
I had a good one this week.
So, yeah, Universal 8. Rent it, buy it, stream it.
Which IMDb rates it at a 7.8 out of 10, which is pretty close.
Yeah, that's not bad.
90% from Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. So, this is an own it.
Yeah, I feel like everyone should own this movie just so they have it.
Yeah,
it's a little 2 hours of happiness.
I say stream it, only because I know with our mixed audience in terms of generations,
that's true.
Not everyone is gonna necessarily like have the same experience with it if this is their first time watching it and they were born like after 1992. So
no,
95.
I would say
born in 1995.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 95 sounds about right.
So, I was 92 is because, like, Gen Z and millennial, like, later millennials, like, share a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, like, I would still caution with regards to, with just going out and buying it. But if you stream it and you enjoy it, then there's something there. It's just not just diving headfirst in and, like, owning it just because.
No, absolutely.
I think it is definitely worth owning, obviously, because we bought it, but we also bought it on sale.
That's what I was gonna say. If you're gonna buy it when it's on sale.
But if you're not sure about it, you've never seen it before, fucking stream it. Don't even buy it.
See it in a dollar bin though at a fucking Target while you're walking by.
No, yeah, exactly. But
throw it in your cart.
If you just see it on like Max or whatever fucking station or whatever streaming channel, go ahead and stream it, and I wouldn't even say rent it, honestly, just because I'll say that. I'll say at least pay to rent it. So, yeah.
Okay.
At least rent it.
At least. Alright, so with that being said, I believe we are done with the
Wonka.
review.
Yeah, I think we're ready for a spin if Ari has charged her phone.
Yeah,
suspense.
Ari charged her phone this
drum
week?
roll, drum roll.
It is charged. It's been charged this whole time.
Excellent. And I did tell you to charge it before.
Oh no, it was charging before you got here.
And another thing in regards to the franchise, if you like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, good. It is what it is. I haven't seen Wonka yet. I don't know if I want to see Wonka.
I'm just seeing Wonka. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, because I don't need his backstory.
Yeah, no, that's unneeded.
Exactly.
Actually, so I played Willy Wonka in high school, and the way I was told to play the role is that he's God.
Okay.
He is an omnipotent being.
Yeah.
And so when they came out with Wonka, it's actually a movie I probably would have seen if I wasn't given this advice in high school to play it as God.
Right. Okay.
Because now I'm sitting here like, but he's God. I don't need to know about God's backstory.
Yeah.
The whole point, one of the best parts of this movie is that he is so mysterious and no one really knows what to expect from him.
You don't really need.
And Gene Wilder really got it because he read the script and apparently he called the director and said, "I'll only do it if I can come out in the opening scene with a limp and do the forward roll."
Yeah.
He did this on the phone call to get the role.
I read that.
And the director was like, "You won't do the movie without it?" He's like, "No, I won't." Because From that moment on, you'll never know if Wonka's telling the truth or not.
Yeah.
And my question is, do the audience, the people who are there in this, know that he's going to do that?
No.
I suspect
so. So in the so I was reading some of the trivia.
Yeah.
That is one of the moments that nobody knew was going to happen.
Yep.
No, that's what I suspected.
Same thing with him screaming at Charlie and Grandpa Joe. They did not know he was going to scream.
Yep. The kids were never allowed. Nobody was ever allowed into the chocolate room.
Yeah.
So everyone's reaction walking in was authentic as well.
Okay. So, that's awesome.
I think that's another good I'm gonna add.
I
feel like it's a lost art in filmmaking.
It is.
I don't think they do that as much.
The decision to use authenticity.
The director.
Yeah. So another good is the decision to add authenticity.
Yeah.
To some of the shots because it really makes it feel extra special.
The Hans Gruber shots.
There you go. All right, so Ari. Oh wait, no, there's I think there's comments.
What are we gonna do the comments?
I think we're done with the argument, so we can just can just read them off.
Because I was wondering if. Okay, so. Let's see. Strange said. Also, Matt is enjoyed the Marvels as well. But it can be picked apart from a critic standpoint.
It can be, but it was still a fun movie, which is all I'm looking for out of an MCU film.
I heard Wonka bars were mostly sold in the UK.
That makes a lot of sense.
I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard, which is fair. I could tell. Strange also said I could tell you exactly what I wanted at age 10. It was Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah,
that's a good man.
Fair.
That's an ugly. Oh, okay, you already answered about the dark jokes. They did a Tom and Jerry remake and put a remake of that scene in there, and I was like, oh good, giving the younger generation nightmares still. It's on Max. That's weird.
That's wonderful.
Strange gives it a Grizzly Reaper mowing out of 10. and he says Wonka was okay. I enjoyed some of the music, and that's it for the comments. All right, Ari, are you ready?
I am. Okay, no, I can't do that. Okay. No, I'm just updating my list. Okay. All right, I am ready.
Then spin to win.
Wheel of morality, turn. Tell us the lesson that we should learn.
I love that.
What is that from?
Futurama.
No, Animaniacs.
Is it? Oh, that's Futurama. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Damn! Alright, we're doing
hold on. Before you tell... Okay, well, you think you just said it. But before you tell the world, because I think I talked over you, what did it almost hit?
Prince of Egypt.
Oh!
So close. And it's like on Netflix right now. I don't know if it's gonna be on there.
And I think it's on. I think it's on. I think it's going away too.
Fuck that. Can we do Prince of Egypt? I'll just do Casablanca another time. Like not another time, but like, I get it. I get it. It's just if it's not, that's fine. I understand.
See, Juice. I'm addressing Juice right now, so you could just stay over there. Me personally, I just want to give it to her because it's fine. It doesn't bother me none,
Right.
And I'm sure you're the same way. At the same time,
we did establish rules.
And whenever we ask for something like that, there is a hard authoritarian line drawn by one Ariane Campbell.
Damka. When was the last time this had happened, though?
October.
Specifically, when I was relegated to one movie so I could watch the movie I wanted.
I feel like that's different.
So I feel like there should be consequences.
I feel like it's...
Consequences for what?
I feel like it's different, though. That was 1 month.
I'm also giving her a lot of shit right now for comedic purchases.
All
right, so no, you can actually do Prince of Egypt. That's fine.
Shall I then be my pick is Prince of Egypt, and then the next time I don't get to spin, it's gonna be Casablanca.
I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine with me.
Yeah. Does that seem fair?
That seems fine.
That seems fair to me.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not getting a new spin or anything like that.
Or you could just skip your next turn.
No.
I'm kidding. I'm fucking with you. I just want to see your face with all this because it's great. But just remember our generosity and easygoingness when it comes to something like this for us.
I'll try.
Okay. As long as you try. I mean, that's a step.
Well,
all right, so we're going to be watching Prince of Egypt next week.
No, we're not.
But it's Christmas, so are we actually watching it next Wednesday?
We will be watching Prince of Egypt in 2 weeks.
That's New Year's. That's New Year's Day.
So
I have no plans for New Year's Day. Do you have plans for New Year's Day?
We have plans to hang out with Juice, and then on New Year's Eve, and I have nothing after that.
Oh, we're hanging out on New Year's Eve?
I was told to come over for New Year's Eve.
Yes.
Oh, I was not told that you were.
You were here last time. We said like we were claiming him.
Yeah, you did.
Because he was gonna be around for your birthday.
Well, I thought we were claiming both of them.
Both of who?
Me and my significant other?
Yeah.
No.
She's out of town.
Oh. No, I'm also pretty certain that if she was not already making plans with him.
Well, then we need to invite someone else.
Well.
Strange.
We would have had to figure something out as far as the conversation goes because it still might be too early.
No, I would have assumed you weren't coming over if you guys had plans or she wanted to hang out with you. We would have figured something out.
Here's the thing: with New Year's Day, I don't think there's anything wrong with streaming.
I don't have a problem with it. I personally don't have a problem with it.
I do not as well.
I mean, because look, New Year's Day is basically just kind of everyone's off and fuck off. Everyone is recovering from the hangover from the night before, except me.
However, if the whole thing is that it's going to be going away on a certain day, because usually it's the end of the month.
Then we rent it.
The whole point is that's on Netflix. It's the reason why I want to do it.
Let me take a look. Well, Strange just mentioned something about it being on Peacock, and it might.
Also, if you want to take a break from Boulder's Gate, we can do it on Friday.
That's possible.
Let me see something.
Just because it's streaming's a pain in the ass right now with my birthday, then Christmas, then your birthday. Like, streaming's just tough right now.
No, yeah, I get it. Well, so we'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
At some point, we're gonna watch Prince of Egypt, so everyone watch Prince of Egypt.
I'm pretty sure we won't have a problem. I believe it is on Peacock.
Okay.
I have Peacock, which has Prince of Egypt, so y'all can push it back and still watch. So.
Okay.
And Strange said he's off on New Year's Day.
Sweet. You should come over and hang out with us.
Just saying.
If you and Jay want to come over, if you just have a couple hours to come watch movies with us, then. Because I don't know what her schedule is, or if she feels.
Yes, Strange, you and your lovely wife are officially invited to come spend New Year's Eve with us, where there will probably be some booze and board games and a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, honestly. And animals, there are animals.
Yeah, there are animals, but it'll be a nice, laid-back New Year's Eve at the house with board games and booze. So,
and kittens.
The invitation is out there.
And or puppies.
And pizza.
So I think we're gonna call it there.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out in a couple weeks. So.
Yep. So for No Counter Entertainment, this is Matt.
This is Juice.
Like, share, subscribe. We're out.
Bye.
Chocolate.
No, stop. Don't.